Making smart decisions in real estate. We all want to do it. What does that mean? And smart for who? A buyer, a seller, an investor? Okay, you're going to be all three. Even if it's your home, it's an investment. Your personal net worth should grow while you own that property. It is part of your growth of your equity and your assets. So these are tips that are going to apply no matter who you are, because if you're a buyer, you're always an investor, and someday you're going to be a seller. So what are some general real estate tips that everybody can use to have a better time in real estate? Okay, tip number one, for goodness sakes, follow expert advice. Expert advice. Expert. I'm not talking about your uncle who bought a property 20 years ago. I'm not talking about your dad who's lived in the same house for 30 years. Their opinions matter. These are the people in your life that are watching out for you and that care for you. But don't let them be the ones that are actually giving advice on what's happening in real estate. Have them listen to the advice of the expert with you. Have them review the advice of the expert with you. Don't let them be the expert. Does that make sense? Your experts are going to be realtors, lawyers, accountants, contractors, home inspectors. Now, of course, these professionals, you haven't known them your whole life like you have these trusted people in your life. So you're going to want to use your trusted advisors to give you a feel on the knowledgeability and the trustworthiness of these experts. But for goodness sakes, follow the advice of your chosen expert. Don't let someone who isn't actually a real estate expert be the one advising you. It's a huge difference, and I can tell you, I've watched many people make many very foolish real estate investing decisions because they follow the advice of someone that they trust, like their mom, their dad, their uncle, their cousin, but that trustworthy person doesn't actually have real estate expertise. Second way to always be successful in real estate is pay attention to location. For goodness sakes. There's a reason that they say location, location, location. It's because it's so important you say it 3 times. Bad properties in good locations will still grow in value. Amazingly beautiful properties in terrible locations that don't grow will make you no money. Be mindful of location. Pick the right market in the country if you're going to be investing. Pick the right neighborhood in the city if you're going to be buying. And in that neighborhood, pick the right property on the right street, on the right corner, on the right backing the park or the ravine, etc., etc. For goodness sakes, everything about location matters, and it will greatly dictate the value of your property. Even view. View is part of location. Is something going to be interrupting the view, like a new development? Or will a new development be enhancing the view? For example, let's say that the city's building a beautiful new park out of that parking lot that your property's next to. That's pretty nice. Okay, that's our second tip. How to be mindful and win in real estate is location. Tip number 3, tax. Dun, dun, dun. Pay attention to tax. For goodness sake. We've got 3 types of taxes that affect you as a real estate investor. Number 1, well, there's your primary residence tax exemption. You don't pay tax on your primary residence. There are a lot of people who rapidly enhance their net worth because they're willing to move once in a while, to change their primary location, to take that equity growth out of the market. There's flippers who will buy a house, renovate it, and then live in it for a few years so that it's their primary residence before they sell it. So that again, those gains are tax exempt because it's their primary residence. Be smart about using the primary residence exemption. I know there's something nice about putting down roots and staying in a place for a long time, and moving is a hassle, but understand where you're at in life. It might actually make sense to move a little bit more often than you think from a net worth perspective. Tax type number 2 is capital gains. Now, at the time of the recording of this video, capital gains tax is in the process of going up a little bit in Canada. That stinks. But capital gains apply, long story short, to selling rental properties. So you want to make sure that you're selling your property to get a capital gain instead of full pop income tax, which is what you pay when you flip or when you assign. Well, knowing your tax situation really, really, really matters. Understanding how your disposition, that's a fancy word for selling property, is going to affect your tax situation, very important. That's why I always say follow the advice of a very, very good accountant so they can advise you on how, when, and where to classify and sell your properties, because properties are expensive. We're not talking getting taxed on a few bucks here and there. This could mean hundreds of thousands of dollars of difference on the tax you pay when you sell your property. So being tax smart, no matter what kind of property it is going to have a huge impact on your experience as a real estate investor or real estate owner. Remember, whether you're a buyer or a seller, you're always an investor. So be smart about it, people. And for goodness sakes, I'd love to chat with you about real estate. Slide on into my DMs.